My sister stole my dream vacation fund and used it for her honeymoon. Now she's broke. And begging me to pay for her divorce lawyer. My name is Riley Harper. I'm 31 now, single by choice, no kids, no pets. And I run a small but profitable digital marketing agency from a converted loft in Portland, Oregon. We specialize in helping indie bookstores, craft breweries, local nonprofits, and small sustainable brands punch above their weight. Online sale audits, targeted social ads, email funnels that actually convert, content calendars that don't feel like homework, the works. Last year, we cleared $780,000 in revenue with a lean team of 7 remote contractors, 3 writers, 2 designers, 1 ad specialist, 1 VA. I own my place outright, no mortgage. No debt beyond a small business line of credit I use for cash flow. I drive a used 2019 Subaru Outback that still smells faintly like pine air freshener from the previous owner. I live quietly, save aggressively 50% plus of take home, invest in index funds and a Roth IRA. And every year I put 20% of my after-tax income into what I call the Dream Fund. The Dream Fund started when I was 24. ID just landed my first real retainer client, a tiny vegan bakery in Selwood that went semi-viral. After I ran a low-budget TikTok campaign featuring their matcha croissants. The first check felt like freedom for $1,000 to $100 deposited on a rainy Thursday. I opened a high-yield savings account at Ally Label Dream and decided right then. One day I would take the trip I'd been fantasizing about since high school. Not a quick weekend getaway to Cannon Beach. Not a budget flight to Vegas with friends. A real, month-long, once-in-a-lifetime journey. 2 weeks in Kyoto during peak cherry blossom season, hanami picnics under the philosopher's path, quiet temples at dawn, matcha everything, maybe a tea ceremony class. Then 2 weeks in New Zealand hiking the Milford Track, seeing glowworm caves in Waitomo, a helicopter flight over Milford Sound, stargazing in Iraqi, Mount Cook National Park. I wanted cherry blossoms drifting like pink snow. I wanted fjords that looked like they belonged in a fantasy novel. I wanted silence, wonder, and something no one could take away or cheapen. I told only one person the full details. My older sister, Lauren. Lauren is 34, married, or was to a guy named Connor, an entrepreneur who sells dropshipped fitness gadgets and manifestation journals on Shopify. They met at a music festival in 2018, got engaged after 8 months of whirlwind dating, and married in a backyard ceremony with fairy lights, a taco food truck, and a playlist of indie folk covers. I was maid of honor. I wore a sage green dress I bought secondhand and gave a speech about how she'd always been the one who made life feel bigger, brighter, more possible, how she taught me to dream without apology. Everyone cried, including me. I also told her about the Dream Fund over wine one rainy night in late 2020. She was crashing at my place after Connor's latest pivot, a failed subscription box for mindful gym gear, left them temporarily cash-strapped and evicted from their overpriced apartment in Beaverton. I showed her the account balance on my phone, $42,000 at the time, growing steadily. Kyoto and New Zealand, I said, tracing the map on my laptop screen. Month-long, solo, no compromises, no group tours. In giving myself that gift when it hit $75,000, no one else invited. Her eyes went wide over the rim of her glass. Riley, that's beautiful. You deserve it. Promise me you won't let life get in the way, boyfriends, work, whatever. You go. I promised. She asked to borrow $18,000 3 months later. We were at a coffee shop near my loft. She looked higher, dark circles, chipped nail polish, the same hoodie she'd worn the night before. Connor's inventory shipment got held at customs in Long Beach, she said, stirring her oat milk latte. We need to pay the duties and storage fees or we lose the whole container. $18,000 exactly. It's temporary, just 90 days. I'll pay you back with interest. 8%. Scout's honor. You know I'm good for it. I hesitated. The money was earmarked. But she was my sister. The one who used to sneak me into R-rated movies when mom was working nights. Who helped me hide my first tattoo, a tiny crescent moon on my ankle. Who cried with me for weeks when dad walked out on us in 2009. I transferred the money the next morning from my phone while eating cereal. She hugged me so hard my ribs hurt and promised again. 90 days. I swear. 90 days came and went. No repayment. No interest. No update. When I asked gently over text, she replied, "Things are tight. Connor's launching a new product line, weighted manifestation blankets. Give us till the end of the year." End of the year became spring. Spring became summer. Summer became their third wedding anniversary trip. To Maui, photos flooding Instagram of them toasting mai tai at sunset on Kaanapali Beach. Her in a white sundress, him shirtless with a lei caption, "Grateful for love that grows stronger every year, anniversary blessed." I stared at the post for a long time, them hovering over the heart icon. Then I texted her, "Hey, about the $18,000. Any update on repayment?" Read receipt appeared instantly. No reply. I waited another month. Then I called. She picked up on the fourth ring, voice bright and brittle like cheap glass. "Riley, hey, so good to hear from you. How's the agency?" "The money, Lauren." Long pause. Background noise, Connor laughing at something on TV. A dog barking. "Okay, look," she said, dropping the cheer. "We used it for the honeymoon. Maui was non-refundable. Flights, the resort, the Lua package, everything. We were going to pay you back after Connor's launch, but the launch flopped hard. Weighted blankets didn't sell. We're actually in a rough spot right now, behind on rent, car payments late. I'm sorry. I really am. You spent my dream fund on your honeymoon. It wasn't like that. We were going to replace it. I swear. But things just spiraled. You promised 90 days. You promised interest. You promised Scout's honor. I know. I'm sorry. But family helps family, right? Well, figure it out. I promise. Just give us a little more time." I hung up. Blocked her number for the first time in my life. That was 3 years ago. I rebuilt the dream fund slowly, painfully. Every extra dollar went back, and no vacations, no new clothes, no dinners out beyond the occasional takeout. Just work, save, repeat. I took on extra clients, raised rates 15%, automated more processes so I could bill more hours without burning out. By early 2025, the balance hit $68,000. I booked the tickets quietly. Kyoto in April 2026 for peak sakura. New Zealand in May for autumn colors in the South Island. Cherry blossoms, fjords, glowworms, silence. I told no one except my best friend Mara, who cried happy tears when I showed her the itinerary over FaceTime. Then, 2 months before departure, Lauren showed up at my loft, unannounced, 8 p.m. on a Thursday in February 2026. She rang the buzzer until the neighbor complained, and I finally let her up. She looked wrecked, hair in a messy bun. Hoodie that used to be mine in high school, faded green with a hole in the cuff. Eyes red and puffy. No makeup. Connor was it with her. No ring on her finger. I opened the door but didn't step aside. "Riley," she said, voice cracking on the first syllable. "I need help. Connor filed for divorce last month. He took everything, our joint accounts, the car, even the dog. I'm staying on a friend's couch in street. John's. I can't afford a lawyer. The hearing's in 6 weeks. If I don't fight, he'll get the house we bought together. I'll have nothing. I'll be homeless." I stared at her. She kept going, words tumbling out faster. "I know I stole from you. I know I broke your trust. I know the May thing was unforgivable. I hate myself for it every single day. But I'm begging you. Just a retainer $6,500. I'll pay you back. I swear on Mom's grave. I'll work for you. I'll clean your office. I'll do your taxes. Anything. Please. You're the only person I have left who might still care. One didn't speak for a long minute. The hallway light buzzed overhead. Then I said, "You used my dream vacation to fund your honeymoon. You lied about repayment. You ghosted me when I asked. You chose a beach resort over my future. Now you show up because your husband left you and you need money for a lawyer." Tears streamed down her face. She didn't wipe them. I know how awful that is. I hate myself for it. But I'm drowning, Riley. I have nowhere else to go. Please. I looked at her, really looked. The sister who used to braid my hair before school. The sister who taught me how to sneak out through the basement window. The sister who chose a sunset toast in May over keeping a promise to me. I stepped back. "You chose him over me once," I said quietly. "You don't get to choose me now just because he's gone." I closed the door, locked it, listened to her sob in the hallway for 10 full minutes deep. Broken sounds before her footsteps faded down the stairs and out into the rain. Then I went to my laptop, opened the Dream Fund account, and stared at the balance. $68,412.17. Kyoto. Cherry blossoms. New Zealand. Fjords. I booked the trip in full that night, non-refundable business class upgrades, Ryokan stays, guided hikes, private transfers. No more waiting. No more compromises. The confirmation email arrived with a soft chime. I closed the laptop, poured a glass of red, and sat on the couch in the dark. For the first time in 3 years, the weight on my chest felt lighter. Not gone, but lighter. The door closed behind Lauren with a soft click that felt louder than it should have in the quiet hallway. I stood there for a full minute, hands still on the knob, listening to her footsteps echo down the stairwell, slow and hesitant at first, like she was hoping I'd change my mind and call her back, then faster, almost running, as if she was trying to outrun her own sobs and the weight of what she'd just asked. The hallway light buzzed once, twice, then steadied into a low hum. Rain tapped against the loft windows like impatient fingers on glass Portland winter rain. Relentless, cold, indifferent to everything happening inside. I didn't open the door again. I walked back to the couch, sat down hard on the worn leather, and stared at the half-empty wine glass I'd left on the coffee table before she arrived. The red had turned almost black in the low light from the single lamp. I picked it up, swirled it once, and drank it in one long swallow. It tasted like regret, tannin, and the faint bitterness of old promises. Then I opened my laptop, the screen glowed bright in the dark room. The Dream Fund dashboard loaded instantly. $68,412.17. A number I'd watched climb for 3 long years, every freelance bonus deposited straight in. Every rate increase funneled without hesitation. Every skipped concert ticket, new pair of boots, or weekend trip to the coast sacrificed to that Ally high-yield account. I clicked into the travel folder I'd kept hidden behind a password-protected note app. Kyoto itinerary, Ryokan with private garden views. Tea ceremony reservation at a 400-year-old temple. Guided walk along the philosopher's path at dawn during peak sakura. New Zealand Milford Track guided multi-day hike with pack transfer. Glowworm Caves boat tour in Waitomo. Helicopter flight over Milford Sound with champagne picnic on a mountain ledge. Stargazing night in Aoraki, Mount Cook National Park. Non-refundable deposits already paid months ago. Departure April 12, 2026, less than 2 months away. I hovered over the confirm full balance button for maybe 10 seconds, long enough to feel the old knot in my chest tighten one last time. Then I clicked it. The payment processed in under a minute. $68,412.17 transferred seamlessly. Confirmation email chimed in with a soft, cheerful tone. Subject: Your dream journey is fully booked. Thank you for choosing us. I forwarded it tomorrow with one line. It's happening. No more waiting. Tickets locked. See you at PDX. She replied in 90 seconds. Hell yes. I'm crying at my desk in the middle of a meeting. Pack good socks and tell me everything when you get back. I closed the laptop, poured another glass of red from the bottle on the counter, sat in the dark, and let the rain sound fill the room steady, rhythmic, almost meditative. For the first time in 3 years, the weight on my chest felt lighter. Not gone completely. Betrayal doesn't vanish overnight, but lighter. Manageable. Like I could finally breathe around it. The next morning, I woke up early, habit from years of grinding through 5 a.m. Client calls and content batches. Coffee. 20 minutes of yoga on the mat by the window. Emails. No hangover, no second guessing, no spiral of should I have opened the door. I checked the agency dashboard. 2 new leads from inbound inquiries overnight, 1 from the craft distillery in Bend, 1 from a women's health nonprofit in Eugene. I scheduled discovery calls, raised rates another 10% on new contracts, and watched the projected monthly revenue tick up to $80,000 to $1,000. The business was healthy, growing, mine. Lauren didn't text again, didn't call from a blocked number, didn't show up at the coffee shop near my building where I sometimes worked with my laptop open. She vanished the way people do when they've burned the last bridge and know there's no going back. I didn't look for her on social media, didn't ask mutual friends, didn't wonder if she was okay. I just kept moving forward. Spring came fast that year. Portland loomed, early cherry trees along the East Bank Esplanade, pink petals drifting like snow on the Willamette, daffodils pushing through sidewalk cracks. I started packing in March. Lightweight merino layers for New Zealand's changeable weather, waterproof hiking boots broken in on Forest Park trails, a new leather journal with a sturdy cover, noise-canceling headphones, a small instant camera for analog memories, compression sacks for clothes, a silk eye mask printed with cherry blossoms I'd bought on impulse. Ridiculous, but it made me smile every time I saw it. April 10th, 2 days before departure. Mara threw me a small going-away dinner at her apartment in Alberta Arts District sushi takeout. From the place on Mississippi, cold sake. A playlist of Japanese lo-fi beats mixed with New Zealand indie folk. 6 friends, total quiet, warm, no big speeches. Just laughter, hugs, and 1 toast from Mara to Riley finally taking what she's owed herself for years. No compromises, no regrets, just cherry blossoms and fjords. I cried then quiet, happy tears that tasted like relief. Not for Lauren, not for the money, for me, for the version of myself who kept the promise even when someone else broke theirs. The flight to Tokyo was long but smooth, business class pod for the first time in my life. Lie-flat seat, noise-canceling headphones, a glass of champagne before takeoff. I watched the city lights of Portland shrink beneath us and felt something loosen in my chest, a knot I'd carried for 3 years, finally starting to unravel thread by thread. Kyoto in April was everything I'd imagined and more. Cherry blossoms everywhere, Arashiyama bamboo grove dusted pink at sunrise. Maruyama Park lit with paper lanterns at night. Fushimi Inara's 1,000 torii gates vanishing into misty hills like a red tunnel to another world. I walked alone most days. Sat on temple steps with matcha and wagashi. Wrote in my journal under blooming trees. No agenda. No guilt. No should I have helped her. Just presence. Just the soft fall of petals and the sound of my own breathing. I posted 1 photo on Instagram, me in a rented yukata under a sakura canopy, smiling softly. No filter. Caption: finally here. Lauren liked it from a new account Shed created. No comment. No DM. I didn't block her. Didn't need to. She was a ghost now, faint, distant, irrelevant to the life I was living in real time. New Zealand came next. South Island, autumn golden hills, crisp air that smelled like eucalyptus and rain. Fjords like polished glass reflecting snow-capped peaks. I hiked the Milford Track with a small guided group for days of trails, waterfalls, rhine forests, and 1 perfect clear night under stars so bright they looked painted. Stood at the edge of Milford Sound while mist rolled off the cliffs, and a dolphin pod swam alongside the boat. Took the helicopter to a champagne picnic on a mountain ledge. Rotors thumping above us like a heartbeat. The pilot pointing out waterfalls named after Maori legends. Glowworms in Waitomo, tiny blue stars in absolute dark. Like the ceiling of the universe had cracked open. On the last night, in a cabin near Queenstown with a wood-burning stove and a view of Lake Waikotipu, I sat on the deck with a glass of local Pinot Noir and the Southern Stars overhead cracks. The Southern Cross. So clear it hurt to look at. My phone had one new voicemail, a known number. I played it on speaker, half expecting silence or another plea. Riley, it's Lauren. I know you don't want to hear from me. I don't blame you. I wanted to say I'm sorry. Again. For everything. For Maui. For the lies. For showing up at your door like that and putting you in that position. Connor's gone. The divorce is final. I lost the house, he got it in the settlement. I'm working retail, no clothing store at the mall. Folding sweaters and smiling at customers who don't know my life fell apart. It's humbling. I'm trying to rebuild. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just needed to say it out loud. I hope your trip was everything you dreamed. You deserve it. More than anyone. She hung up. No tears in her voice this time. Just quiet acceptance. A woman who finally understood the cost. I didn't call back. I deleted the voicemail. Finished my wine. Looked at the stars until my neck ached, and went inside to pack for home. The flight back landed at PDX on a rainy May evening, typical Portland welcome. Mara picked me up at baggage claim. Hugged me so hard I laughed. You look different, she said in the car, windshield wipers thumping. Good, different. Settled. Like you left something heavy behind and didn't bring it back. I smiled at the rain-streaked window. I did. Back at the loft, I unpacked slowly. Put the Polaroids on the fridge, cherry trees in full bloom, fjords at sunrise. Glowworms like underwater stars, me smiling alone on a mountain ledge with wind in my hair. The silk eye mask went in a drawer. The journal stayed on the nightstand, pages filled with sketches, ticket stubs, pressed petals. A week later, I got an email from Lauren, new Gmail address, subject line. No reply needed. Riley, I saw your photos on Instagram. They're beautiful. Kyoto looks like a dream. New Zealand looks like another planet. I'm glad you went. I'm starting therapy next month, sliding scale, at a community clinic. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. Not to excuse it. Just to stop repeating the same patterns with other people. I'm not asking for anything. Just wanted you to know I'm working on myself. For real this time. Take care of yourself. Lauren, I read it once. Didn't reply. Didn't delete it. Just archived it in a folder labeled past and closed the tab. Then I opened my laptop, logged into the agency dashboard, and started planning the next quarter, new client outreach, rate adjustments, a team retreat in the gorge. The dream fund was empty, but I was full. And for the first time in years, the future felt wide open. The flight home from Queenstown landed at PDX just after 8 p.m. On a rainy May evening, classic Portland welcome, gray skies low and heavy. Wet tarmac reflecting terminal lights. The familiar smell of jet fuel mixed with evergreen drifting in through the open jet bridge. Mara was waiting at baggage claim, holding a ridiculous handmade sign she'd made in a hurry. Welcome back. World traveler in glitter pen with little doodles of cherry blossoms, fjords, and a stick figure, me wearing a backpack. She spotted me first, dropped the sign with a clatter, and pulled me into a hug so tight I laughed into her shoulder. The kind of laugh that comes out shaky after a month of quiet solitude. You look different, she said, stepping back to study my face under the harsh fluorescent lights of the arrivals hall. Good, different. Settled. Like you left something heavy behind and didn't bring it back in your suitcase. Your eyes look lighter. I smiled, small, real, the first unforced one in a long time. I did. I really did. We grabbed my bags to suitcases plus the carry-on stuffed with Polaroids, pressed petals, and a small jar of matcha I bought at Nishiki Market loaded them into her beat-up hatchback and drove through the city while rain streaked the windows in long silver lines. I told her everything, piece by piece, as the wipers thumped rhythmically. The Ryokan garden at dawn with steam rising off the koi pond. The way sakura petals fell like slow pink snow on the philosopher's path. While I sat with a bowl of matcha and watched monks sweep leaves. The glowworms in Waitomo lighting up the cave like underwater stars in absolute dark. The helicopter champagne picnic above Milford Sound with wind whipping my hair. And the pilot pointing out waterfalls named after Maori legends. She listened without interrupting, just nodding and smiling, occasionally wiping her eyes when I described the quiet moments alone on trails or sitting on temple steps with no agenda. "You did it," she said when I finished, voice thick. "No compromises, no apologies, just you and the world. I'm so proud of you, Riley, yeah." And it felt right, like I finally kept a promise to myself. Back at the loft, I unpacked slowly, deliberately, turning it into a small ritual. Polaroids went up on the fridge. In a loose grid, cherry trees in full bloom framing a temple gate at Kiyomizu-dera. Fjords at sunrise with mist rolling off the water like breath. Glowworms like tiny blue constellations in the cave ceiling. Me smiling alone on a mountain ledge with wind in my hair and the southern Alps behind me. The silk eye mask with cherry blossoms went into a drawer next to my passport. The leather journal stayed on the nightstand, pages filled with sketches of torii gates. Ticket stubs from the Shinkansen, pressed sakura petals flattened between wax paper. Short notes to myself like, "Breathe here and this is yours and no one can take it." The next morning I woke up early, habit from years of grinding through 5 a.m. Client calls and content batches. Coffee in my favorite mug, the one with the chipped handle. 20 minutes of yoga on the mat by the window overlooking the Pearl District rooftops. Emails. No hangover, no second guessing, no spiral of should I have opened the door that night. I checked the agency dashboard. 3 new inbound leads overnight, one from a small batch kombucha brand in Eugene. Looking for TikTok strategy. 1 from a queer-owned bookstore in Seattle wanting SEO and email nurture. 1 from a sustainable outdoor gear co-op in Bend needing full funnel ads. I scheduled discovery calls, approved a content calendar for the next quarter, and watched projected monthly revenue tick up to $84,000. The business was healthy, growing, unequivocally mine. A week later, I got an email from Lauren, new Gmail address, subject line, "No reply needed. Riley, I saw your photos on Instagram. They're beautiful. Kyoto looks like a dream. New Zealand looks like another planet. I'm glad you went. I'm starting therapy next month, sliding scale, at a community clinic downtown. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. Not to excuse it. Not to make you feel sorry for me. Just to stop repeating the same patterns with other people in my life. I'm working retail, no clothing store at Washington Square Mall, folding sweaters. Helping moms find jeans that fit, smiling at customers who don't know my life fell apart. It's humbling. It's quiet. It's what I need right now. I'm not asking for anything. Not money. Not forgiveness. Not even a response. Just wanted you to know I'm working on myself. For real this time. And that I'm sorry again. Still. Always for Maui. For the fun. For every time I chose easy over right. For showing up at your door like that and putting you in the position of having to say no. I understand why you did. Take care of yourself. You deserve every good thing. Lauren, I read it once, slowly. Sitting at the kitchen counter with morning light slanting through the windows. Felt the familiar $8 now, less sharp, more like an old bruise than an open wound. Didn't reply. Didn't delete it. Just archived it in the past folder next to the old voicemail and moved on. The summer passed quietly. Portland heated up, long golden days, food cart pods packed with lines out the door. The river path crowded with runners, cyclists, and dogs in bandanas. I took on to more clients, a zero-waste skincare line and a queer-owned coffee roastery. Hired an eighth contractor, a video editor who specialized in short-form content for TikTok and Reels, and watched the agency hit $90,000 a month projected for July. I started running again early mornings along the Springwater corridor, earbuds in with lo-fi beats or ocean sounds, city waking up around me with mist rising off the Willamette. I planted a small herb garden on the loft balcony: basil, rosemary, thyme, mint, nothing fancy. Just pots from the farmer's market and a watering can I kept by the door. Every morning I clipped sprigs for tea or pesto. The smell reminded me of Dad's garden when I was little, and Mom's kitchen windowsill pots where she used to grow basil in old coffee cans. It felt like reclaiming something small but mine. In August, Mara dragged me to a rooftop party in the Pearl District, string lights strung across the roof, DJ spinning chill house, people laughing over craft cocktails and vegan sliders. I met someone, a woman named Jess, graphic designer for a local brewery. Short dark hair streaked with silver, easy laugh, tattoos of constellations on her forearm. We talked for hours about branding, about travel. She'd done a solo trek in Patagonia, about the way Portland feels both too small and endlessly open. She asked about the Polaroids on my fridge when she came over a week later. I told her the short version. I saved for years. My sister took the money for her honeymoon. I rebuilt it. I went anyway. Jess listened without pity or platitudes. Just nodded once and said, "That's a hell of a story." And you still went. That's power. We kept seeing each other. Slowly. No rush. No pressure to define it. By fall, the agency hit $1 million annual run rate. I gave the team real bonuses, checks, not gift cards. Took them all to a rented cabin in the Columbia River Gorge for a long weekend hiking Multnomah Falls bonfires. No work talk allowed. They deserved it. I deserved it. Lauren didn't reach out again. No holiday texts. No birthday message. No just checking in on Instagram stories. She faded into background noise the way ex-friends do when the bridge is burned and both sides know. There's no safe way back across. One rainy November evening, almost exactly a year after Mom's funeral. Though I hadn't marked the date on any calendar, I sat on the balcony with a cup of chamomile tea, watching the city lights reflect on wet streets below. The basil had gone to seed but still smelled sweet when I brushed my fingers over the leaves. My phone buzzed, email notification. From Tyler. Subject: one last thing. Riley, I know you don't want to hear from us. I get it. Lauren's doing better, therapy's helping. She's saving a little each paycheck. Even started a small side hustle selling vintage clothes online. She asked me to send this. It's the last thing she wants to say. I'm not asking you to reply. Just read it if you want. Tyler attached. A short PDF. 1 page. Lauren's handwriting scanned, neat but tired. Riley, I'm not going to keep saying sorry forever. It starts to feel cheap after a while. But I am sorry. For Maui. For the fund. For every time I chose easy over right. For showing up at your door like that and putting you in the position of having to say no. I understand why you did. Am learning slowly, painfully, that trust isn't something you can borrow and pay back later. It's something you earn and keep or lose forever. Am proud of you. Not in a big sister way. In a real way. You built something unbreakable. You went on that trip. You didn't let me ruin it. That's strength I never had. I hope you're happy. Truly. And I hope someday you can think of me without anger. Not today. Maybe not ever, but someday. Lauren, I read it once. Closed the file. Didn't reply. Didn't archive it this time, just deleted the email and the attachment. Then I stood up, clipped a last sprig of basil, and went inside to make pesto for dinner. The dream fund was empty, but the balcony garden was growing. And so was I, quietly, steadily, one ordinary day at a time. The year after New Zealand unfolded quietly, almost gently. like Portland rain that starts hard in November but softens into mist by spring. The agency crossed $1.2 million in annual run rate by the end of 2026. Steady growth. No fireworks, just consistent execution. New clients from referrals. Only the kombucha brand in Eugene turned into a six-figure retainer. The queer bookstore in Seattle became a case study we used in pitches. Rate increases accepted. Without pushback. Team bonuses that felt earned and generous. A second retreat in the Columbia River Gorge where we hiked Multnomah Falls, drank local cider around a bonfire, and talked about nothing work-related for 3 full days. I gave everyone an extra week of paid time off that December. No strings, no expectations. They deserved it. I deserved it too. Jess and I kept seeing each other slowly turning into something solid, something that felt like home without forcing it. She moved in by spring 2027. We painted one wall of the loft deep emerald green to match the balcony herbs, built bookshelves from reclaimed wood sourced from a demo in St. John's, planted more pots until the terrace looked like a small urban jungle. Basil, rosemary, thyme, mint, even a dwarf lemon tree that actually fruited one winter. She asked about the Polaroids on the fridge one lazy Sunday morning, while making coffee in her favorite oversized sweater. I told her the full story this time, no short version, no glossing over the hard parts. Maui. The lies. Lauren at my door in the rain. The closed door. The trip anyway. The voicemail on the last night in Queenstown. Jess listened with her chin in her hand. I steady. No interruptions. When I finished, she said, "You didn't just take the trip. You took your life back. That's not revenge. That's sovereignty." Then she kissed me slow, sure, tasting like coffee and morning, and went back to grinding beans. No drama. No pity. No poor you platitudes. Just acceptance. I loved her for that most of all. Lauren stayed gone. No holiday texts. No birthday messages. No just checking in on Instagram stories or subtle likes from new accounts. She faded into background noise the way ex-friends do when the bridge is burned and books hides. No. There's no safe way back across. Tyler didn't reach out again either. I assumed they were both rebuilding in their own small, separate ways. Retail jobs, therapy, side hustles, quiet lives without the drama of borrowed money and broken promises. I didn't check. Didn't search their names. Didn't wonder if they were okay. I just kept moving forward. In June 2027, I drove back to the coast, alone. Cannon Beach. Same stretch of sand where I used to go as a kid with Mom and Lauren every summer. The haystack rock loomed offshore like always, tide pools full of anemones, starfish, and tiny crabs scuttling under rocks. I walked barefoot at low tide, cold water numbing my ankles, and sat on a driftwood log until the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange and pink. No tears this time. No anger. Just quiet. I scattered a few petals from the dried sakura I'd kept in my journal into the wave's small ceremony for what was lost and what was found. The ocean took them without comment. Back home, the agency kept growing. We hit $1.5 million annual run rate in 2028. I hired a part-time ops manager so I could step back from day-to-day fires and focus on strategy, new verticals, partnerships. Maybe a small-size tool for clients down the line. Jess and I started talking seriously about kids fostering first. Maybe adoption later when we felt ready. We bought a small house in Selwood, 2 bedrooms, big backyard with mature maples, room for a garden, and maybe a swing set someday. I planted basil, rosemary, thyme, mint, and a row of tomatoes in raised beds built from cedar. Every morning I watered them before coffee. Every evening Jess and I sat on the porch with tea or wine, watching fireflies if the season was right, listening to the neighborhood hum. One rainy November evening in 2028, almost exactly 3 years. After that night, Lauren showed up at my door in the rain. I sat on the new porch swing with a cup of chamomile tea, watching rain drip from the eaves onto the herb pots below. The basil had gone to seed again, but still smelled sweet when the wind moved the leaves. My phone bust email notification. From Lauren. Subject. Final note, no reply needed. Riley, am not going to keep writing forever. This is the last one. I promise. Am doing okay. Therapy's hard, but helping in packing why I always chose easy over right. Why I leaned on you when I should have stood on my own. I've been promoted to assistant manager at the store. Better pay, more responsibility. Health benefits that actually cover therapy copays. I started a small side hustle selling vintage clothes online, nothing big. Just enough for breathing room and a little savings. I live in a studio in Hawthorne now. Quiet, mine. No roommates. No drama. I think about you sometimes. Not to guilt you. Just to remember the sister who always believed in big dreams. I took that from you once. I'll never forgive myself for it. But I'm trying to forgive myself enough to keep going without leaning on anyone else. I'm proud of you. Not in a big sister way. In a real way. You built something unbreakable. You went on that trip. You didn't let me ruin it. That's strength I'm still learning how to find. I hope you're happy. Truly. And I hope someday, if it ever feels right, you can think of me without anger. Not today. Maybe not ever, but someday. Take care of yourself. Always. Lauren. I read it once, slowly, rain drumming on the porch roof in soft rhythm. Felt the familiar ache duller now, almost nostalgic. Like pressing on a healed scar to see if it still hurts. It didn't. Not really. I didn't reply. Didn't archive it. Just deleted the email and the attachment. Then I stood up, clipped a last sprig of basil from the garden, and went inside. Jess was in the kitchen making pasta sauce simmering with garlic and tomatoes from our own plants. Bread warming in the oven. She looked up when I walked in, wiping her hands on a dish towel. You okay? She asked, voice soft. Yeah, I said. Just closing a chapter. For good this time. She nodded once. Didn't push. Just pulled me into a hug, chin on my shoulder, smelling like rosemary and home. The dream fund was empty, but the garden was growing lush, fragrant, impossible to ignore. The house was ours, warm lights in the windows, porch swing creaking gently. The agency was thriving, $1.8 million run rate projected for next quarter. Jess was here steady, laughing, planning a future with me. And for the first time in years, the future felt wide open, not like something I had to fight for or rebuild from scratch, but something I could walk into with both hands free. I clipped more basil, added it to the sauce. Jess turned down the heat. We ate on the porch under string lights, rain soft around us like a blanket. No ghosts at the table. Just us. And the quiet certainty that some promises, especially the ones we make to ourselves, are worth keeping. No matter who tries to take them away. No matter how long it takes to get them back.